Hey everybody, welcome back. I am Nikolai, and today we are going to do a brand new game on Solargene. I'm going to run it on the master difficulty, show y'all how I do my opening gambit. Because if you could see it done on master, you could pretty much do it on any difficulty. Go ahead and get in. I'll show y'all the list of mods. Contracts, extraterrestrial nations, natural disasters. We are not going to do the Solargene mission. But I am running a few of my mods. Gas giant mining, research endgame, school system, and ship contracts. Now I'm going to turn the ship contracts off because I want to again show y'all how to do the opening gambit, because it's going to be the hardest thing to get through. Once you're established on the moon with an operational base, you can kind of go from there and at least have a checkpoint to go back to. So we're going to take the ship contracts off so it's as close to vanilla opening as possible. Ship contracts just adds the old contract type for creating orbital ships for money. Gas giant mining is any planet that would be a gas giant, Neptune, Jupiter. You can now put a ship in orbit, and instead of having the astro mining room, there's a new room for gas giant mining that mimics the astro mining. And essentially you can extract resources straight to the orbiter from the atmosphere of the gas giant. The idea is that your orbiter is basically flying in low orbit within the atmosphere enough in order to extract resources straight from the atmosphere. So that's what gas giant mining does. Research endgame, I just updated. Fixed a few things, rearranged it, but it adds a few extra researches at the end of the game just to kind of extend the lifetime of your colonists, your research colonists. And then the school system. School system is another mod that we made, that I made, and it adds a complete training room for colonists. You use your scientists in order to train and teach school for your other colonists assigned to the same room. But we will go ahead and jump right in. We're going to do a new game. We're going to call it Stream Master. And we'll go on the master difficulty. Here we go. So, right off the bat, you have no money. You have no money, no ship, and there is, unless you did the easy moon or easy Mars start, you don't have a colony anywhere, so you can't start anywhere other than Earth. And you can't actually build on Earth, so I'll launch a new station, but we need money. So, collaboration, choose whatever country you want, it really doesn't matter. I'm going to do 250 for the max amount of loan. Take it. Now, this ship is going to be staying in the Earth orbit, so I don't want to go for the lower orbital slopes. If you read here, the inclination of the module's orbit to the elliptic depends on the spaceport. Greater slope will require more fuel for performing. So sorry, I can't speak right now. More fuel for performing interplanetary flights. What that means is, the greater this number, the more fuel that this ship is going to require to go from here to wherever I send it. So, when you are building a ship in an orbit of another planet or Earth, you want to choose the lower one the lowest in this list for a ship that you plan to use for interplanetary travel. So if I were to be building this ship to send it from the Earth to the moon, I would want 10 degrees. But since we are doing just an orbital, we're going to go with the highest one. That game sounds a little loud, so I'm going to turn that down a bit. Sorry about that. Alright. Got our orbital ship, but we have no resources. So let's get to building. Now, you have very little storage starting out. So I always go in here and I will do this. I actually don't need those, so I'm going to clearing my cart. We're going to go to storage first. And I want the highest protection that I could get for both thermal and radiation. Right now at the start it's 7%. These ones at the front are 5%, but they're a little cheaper to build. Now, I don't mind going the extra resources because this will make this ship essentially, I don't have to upgrade this ship until much later, unless you use these blocks where you will need to heat it, cool it, all of the above. Around Earth, you can get away with the 7%, and you don't have to worry about heating and cooling so much. So, again, we're going into the storage room, and I want to extend my storage space. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, because I'm going to balance this out. 2 on that side, 2 on this side, and then I can click in my storage room and also add 6 of these. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And buy. Now, this is nowhere near going to fill us, but again, right now, you only have about 4 cargo volume, so you're not going to be able to hold very much. And then, of course, to order all of our necessary resources, we have to order from different countries at first, so that's just the warning telling me not all of my cart is being ordered. Now all of my cart is being ordered. Go ahead and speed up our time and let our resources show up. While we're waiting on the shuttles, this is the schoolroom. Don't mind this. This is just back-end API stuff that I haven't figured out how to change yet. But this is your schoolroom. We'll build it later. This is going to be your gas giant mining room. Why the picture is like that, I don't know. I'll definitely end up fixing that in a later update. Good old shuttle times. So on Master Play, you don't use shuttles for interplanetary flights. So what that means is from the Earth to the moon, I can't just send resources from an orbital to an orbital. I have to actually load the resources in one of my orbital ships and then send that ship to the moon. And that's also what you have to do with colonists. So it definitely creates a much different style of gameplay because it's not so easy to move your stuff round and round. But you build the right ships and make sure that your flights are always worth it, you'll always be good. The other thing you really have to watch out for is your fuel. You almost have to double up your fuel. Normally I would clear this room because I like to get rid of this and make it even. But we're just going to leave that for right now because we need the storage space. So now we can load up on resources to build our first orbital ship. 2,000. I won't order medicine or food yet. 3, 3, 2, 2. Can I fit 1,000 in here? Yeah. 6 is 9 plus 4, that's 13. So we have 13 points of storage. Alright, because that's going to be a few shuttles, I'm going to go ahead and go to the solar view. Speed it up real quickly, and now our shuttles are arrived. Okay. So, we can get to building. I don't know why that's on. We have all of our resources. Yes. Great. Okay. First things first. One shuttle port, usually terrible, because you usually use a lot of shuttles to move stuff around. For your first ship, don't make an extra station just for... Don't make an extra fixed station just for another shuttle. You can do it other ways, including this way. So even though, you know, people can't get through there, you can make it so people can get through here by doing this. And what I just did is extended this station to use 3 shuttle ports instead of just 1. So you don't need a fixed center column for it. These will actually operate as ports. And as long as the door is there and there is a door there, if people get dropped off here, they can still use the center column to travel throughout the rest of the station. So we're good there. Go ahead and build our 2, 3, and I always add 3 to the bottom section because that allows you to go up a couple levels, 1, 2, in order to add more room there or move more room there, and you will need that later on. Probably not so much right now, but yeah, later on we'll definitely need it. And then of course our rotating section for the people. I don't know why I just added that to the cart. Go away, cart. Alright. Hallways. Now I like to divide up my sections kind of like this. I will use each side, but I always start... Alright. If you've played already, you probably noticed there's very few here. That's because you have to build certain blocks in order to unlock other blocks. But once they're unlocked once, you don't have to do this again. So I'm just going to place an apartment block, and you see I just unlocked the canteen. And of course, I also unlocked the bathroom. So here's a double toilet. Here is a double shower. We're going to get rid of the apartment block. No, just kidding. Sorry. We're going to place the apartment blocks, and we're going to do 8 colonists. That's 10. We're going to make this ship for 10 colonists. We've got apartment, toilets, and showers. Now we're going to do the hospital. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, and that finishes the living quarters. Now we're going to do maintenance. 1, 2, 1, 2. You can do production, but what you're gonna run into is a lot of ordering of resources. But we'll go over that. You kind of do want production in this round to make this ship more self-sustainable. I don't usually use oxygen generators, but I will this time around. And I always do on my first ship on the master playthrough. But we'll get into that. So I'm just adding all of our essential modules. That is the canteen and the relaxation room. And then there are 2 more rooms, 1 more room. I don't need the canteen, but we do need the biotech. 1, 2, 1, 2. And unfortunately, this has to be rather large. Okay. And if you're wondering how I'm doing that, you hold down your control and you just scroll with your mouse wheel to turn it. Up goes clockwise, down goes counterclockwise. There we are. And then finish the room. Do that there. Put the door there. And I don't like how this is just a random gap, so I turn that off. You can get away with 1 maintenance guy. Definitely don't need 2. And again, that's a large room. And then now we have 10 colonists that we're going to be putting here. So we need 3 of these to make it to where your oxygen is constantly being recycled. Not going to use that. Not going to use that. Won't need that because we have the oxygen. Now, some people might tell you, or you might have the idea to go for the electronic components to make money. Let me tell you, your purchasing of the dirt regolith is going to tank your money. So don't. Just don't. I'm not gonna put anything else in here. We're just gonna leave that room for that right now, and that'll be that for this. So let's go finish our other rooms. We did 10 people, so we need at least 10 seats. And I say that because if you make sure you have 1 single chair table in your canteen per person assigned to the room, you will always have 10 out of 10 comfort when you assign people in here. Now I know you could put 2 per table, so that's why you can also get away with this, an 8 setup, and still have 10 out of 10 comfort. For your rec room, I always recommend doing the purple soft cabinet, and this is how I do it. Okay, that'll give me 12 seats. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I hate it when I do that. Alright, so let me explain why I do this. So what I just did is now you have 10 comfort. Well, technically 11, but we're just going to go with 10 comfort per colonist assigned in here. Now I know that's not maxing out the 30 out of 30, but I don't have to max it out right now. For 1, I don't even have colonists in here. For 2, I don't even know the hired colonists and what their requirements are going to be. But I always go with the golden rule of when you're hiring your first crew on any station, this is throughout your entire game, don't go any higher than what you know you can manage. So I don't hire any colonists that are over 25 comfort. But we'll get into that further when we hire. For your rooms, just go for the best room you could build. As far as the interior furniture is concerned. That 30 comfort will really help you for your starting out. And then for these, I don't usually ever go with with any less than a minimum of 3. And that goes for the shower also, because I've found sometimes where if you have 2 or even just 1, some colonists are waiting to use the bathroom. You know, it's like you have a house with, 3 bedrooms, 2 bath, but you have 9 people living in there. You know, those 2 bathrooms are not gonna cut it. So just give them a little extra more. Just give them a little extra, stalls, and they'll be okay. So those are good. Gotta build our hospital. So, boop, boop, boop. For your hospital, you really only need to be able to fill the bed. You really only need to be able to assign all your colonists to it. You don't necessarily need to worry about the centrifuge and building a giant hospital room, because I've found that you don't really use your hospital too much on the starting ship. So I'm just going to leave it like this. We're going to do 1 heater per room. And you don't even need these heaters, to be honest with you. We could wait for the sun to do its thing and heat us up and cool us down and all that stuff in the night cycles, but I want to be able to put people on here like meow. So I'm putting heaters in here so I can heat my rooms to the comfortable temperature that people require for me to put them in here, and that is within the 20 range. So we're going to speed up our time, and you see here we have meteors coming soon. So let's go, where can I put this? Boom and boom. You don't need those, to be perfectly honest. You don't need both of them, you really just needed 1, but we'll just use 2. I always like to balance it out. And then, because our temperature is going to take forever in this, I'm going to go to the solar system, let our speed up, and then that temperature should be going to normal. There we go. And then, like I said, you don't have to worry about diffusers for controlling the heat. And then those heaters are honestly overkill already, but it doesn't take much in order to just put 1 in there. And let's see our battery and capacities. So I want to say we're good, because my rule for orbiters, because most orbits are even as far as like how long you're in the night, how long you're in the day. So when I look at this, I want twice the amount of generation as I am consuming, and then I go for twice the amount of battery capacity that you need for a full night cycle. In Earth, that is an hour and an hour. So I would need 2 hours worth of my consumption in batteries. So really all that means is... Oh, the guns. Yeah, we already gotta move them. So let's move the guns. Let me add... This is really all it needs. Adding... I really only need one. But I am OCD and I want to balance it out. One on each side. So, definitely enough battery capacity to expand further. And now, once we get into a day cycle... we have definitely more than twice the amount of generation as we have consumption. Now you don't have to worry about power. Can we get away? Hey, look at that. Get away with just one. And then the only reason we can get away with just one, because it now turns that to white, and it's no longer a warning indicator for the meteors. The reason why we can get away with just one instead of balancing it out on both sides like it tells you to do with these defense systems is because whenever the meteor shower comes, I go into the station. I leave the station view, go into the solar system view. I don't watch any meteor showers because then it doesn't calculate the damage with the... It calculates damage just by raw data. If you have more defense capability than you need, you're never going to take damage. But you can have, in the station view, you can have enough, but if you don't have an even spread of defenses across all sides of your station, you could still take meteor damage. Because it's rendering in the side that it comes at you, the velocity, and then where your positioning of your defenses are. So I don't watch meteor showers. Leave the station view. Excuse me. Leave the station view. And then go and speed up time until it passes, and then go back. Alright. Very last thing we need to do, we're obviously not 100% ready to go ahead and just hire people because we don't have anything to sustain them except oxygen. So, let's go buy some resources. We need medicine, rations. Now, rations are very, very, very expensive to store as far as how much capacity. So, we only have 10 colonists. We can go down to 500. And we're going to order 5,000 water. I'm not worried about oxygen because we have the regenerators. Let's stock back up on some steel. I like to match it with my non-ferrous because they're usually pretty even as far as consumption on maintenance. Put these up to 1,000. Let's check. We're good on electronics and we're good on everything else. So we could just order from one country. You can use both sides of the shuttles. Well, actually, we could have had a third over here. Alright, now that we got our resources, let's check what we need. Excuse me, let's check what we need. I forgot doors. This would be nice. Okay, that should do our doors for now. We need at least 2 doctors because I always say never, ever, 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 ever go with just a single doctor. That doctor gets sick and your whole entire colony dies. So 2 minimum, I would almost say 3, but we're right here next to Earth, so getting help is, not far away. So we need at least 1 bio guy, 1 maintenance, 2 hospitals. So that is 4. And then we have 6 rooms available for researchers. So let's go ahead and hire some people. I like to go with Europe only because of their diet requires no meat if you go to farms early on. So let's go ahead and get into hiring. Your main goal is to ensure low comfort requirements. Now, obviously, these will change and increase as they skill up, but you can control that. So I will show you how we do this. Your doctors are probably the only ones you maybe want to go for higher than 0 stars. So like this guy's got a half a star. Let's see. Surgeon and oncologist. So that's actually a decent get because surgeon operates that operating table, which is for burns, freezing, and a few other things, which is pretty much the only thing you'll ever encounter up in space with, other than in the long-term cancer. So we'll go with him. Sorry, we'll go with her because she has one requirement. And then where's our surgeon guy? Here we go. And then the other reason why we're going with these, they have no secondary attributes like workaholic or cleany. Now, workaholic is actually a good one. They rest less, work more. Cleany means they will take more showers. Period between showers is negative 25%. That means they will take about 3/4 of the normal amount of time before they go take a shower. So it's, increased the frequency in which. Big guy, 100 health. That really only helps if they're outside a lot. These guys, the doctors never really leave, so here we go. Let's get our repair guy. Repairs, anybody just balling in repairs? No baller for repairs. So wayward, I wouldn't worry about that as like a deciding factor for, hey, I'm gonna hire this person or not. Just because you can't control them doesn't mean they're not gonna be good. Like, I can't tell you, there's many other ways that you could go ahead and force a person like out of a room or into a room if you need to. So there are other ways to force them to move somewhere without just what this takes away, which is the ability to click on this person inside the colony and tell them to go to a specific point. But we have a cheerful and a smart, which is their increased learning speed. So we're going to go with Elias, since he is low in comfort, smart, and very cheerful. Now you can get away with just one biotech, and you basically go for a recycler like this. That's perfect. But here's the problem. Secondary attributes like slob, where it says the mood of other colonists in the room, negative 5%. You don't want these. Even if it's just one, you don't want them. Because what's going to end up happening is you're going to hire one, and then you're going to be like, oh, okay, well, let me go ahead and hire the next one because I only have 2 now. Well, what's going to end up happening is if those people are in the same room, and a lot of the times this will happen because they all share the recreational room, you're just going to start lowering the mood of other people in your colony just because they're there. So just don't use them. Don't. If they have the slob, or I think the other one is toxic, don't get them. And I'll take this. 17, a little bit of recycling, a little bit of fooder, but they're a workaholic. Actually, here we go. Lucky. Favorable random events in your favor. Perfect. So there's our 4. And now we have 6 people for research. So we're going to go with an even spread. I want 2 in each field. There's a biologist. That's fine. I can control their comfort. No, you know what? We're gonna do it. I'm gonna do it for y'all. Here's an engineer, and here's the reason why I said that is the Sybarite. I don't know if I'm even saying that right. The comfort requirement increased by 25%. That is across all skill levels and across the entire. So they will just constantly be an extra 25% comfort requirements. So it'll be harder to keep them comfortable as they level up, but show you how we do it. Here's the toxic I was talking about. I don't care if this guy was like maxed out on physicist and only wanted $1 a day. That toxicity is going to tank the mood of all your other colonists. I don't want it. Here's another good one. And that'll be our biologist. So we now have biophysicist engineer, which really it's going to be bioengineer physicist. And we need 3 more. So loser, we don't want the random events not in our favor, so we're not going to get. Still the loser, extrovert, aesthetics, work performance in a team. So this is a little bit higher than what we wanted, but I know I can control this, and I know some of the skills in here, but this could be our second engineer. This could be our second physicist. Okay, even though they're slow-witted, doesn't necessarily bother me because they already have half of their biology figured out. So we'll go with that. And there's our crew. That is our 10 people. Hire them. And now we need to just go set up our research room. Now I'm going to show you what I mean by you don't need heaters or anything in this, because watch. Let's assign our staff before they go ahead and mutiny. So assign free, great button, but you do need to make sure that you go in and edit skills and whatnot like I'm about to. So I'm going to pause this. We're going to go to all of our scientists, and I'm going to uncheck the skills that I don't want them to use. This is how you control their comforts. So there's one of each. 2 engineers, 2 physicists, and now we have 2 biologists. Now, for my production Elias, he's only going to be doing repairs, but I still am leaving technology and high-tech checked because he's not assigned to those rooms, so he'll never use those skills. He will only ever level by working in the maintenance room. And then speaking of maintenance, I'm going to go ahead and put this up to 90%. I don't know if that's exactly 90, but that's about where I put it. It's just so if I get that warning, I have a little bit of extra time to react. And let's continue building our research room and get these people moving. So you see here we're supplying 70 comfort, most of it coming from their apartment. And you can see our canteen, 8 out of 10. Well, that's because we have 8 seats. If I were to put 2 more in here, we'd have 10 out of 10. But those 2 points, I can make them up over here when I need to. what I just did is I added 2 of each desk and 10 servers and 10 science equipment to my cart. Because even though I have the resources, well, I have some of the resources, I don't want to pull from my stock because you want to keep that for your maintenance levels, and this isn't going to be really expensive to purchase to get them up and running. And I know I said you don't need to defuse for heat and everything like that. I'm gonna do it regardless because I don't feel like even having the chance of that increased 5%. Sorry, the 5 degrees, 7 degrees, however high it goes. I'm not letting that make the people sick and then need to use this. If you can control the environment as best as you possibly can, that's why I do the heaters as well, and leave that as close to 20 degrees at all times, they're pretty much never gonna get sick. Alright, I'm leaving it. Alright. There we go, and I think now we're just waiting on this room to get to temperature. So I'm not going to assign anybody to it just yet. I'm going to build another heater in there, and we'll do one in there as well. And then last but not least, in our resources, we can't do anything with our dirty water just yet. So that is because we don't have any carbon. So we're just going to get 500. And honestly, that should do us. Is our temperature good? Almost. Now I know, again, warning is gone, but close to 20 as possible, and they always stay healthy. And then, of course, since we checked, we controlled the skill levels, so we don't have to worry about who's being assigned to what. I could just assign all of our scientists to this room, and they will only go to the specific bench that is to the skill that I allowed. 10 hired colonists. Let's go to the research tree. Now, your research is going to be split amongst all the ones that you check. So if you have a specific research you want to finish, only do that one. But I just want to get research done right now. And I just want them to research and research and research as much as they can. And there we go. That's our first ship. That baby's gonna stay in the orbit of Earth. And what we're going for is the recombination engines. Now, I know I just said, hey, if you're going for something specific, only research down that line. I'm not that worried about getting recombination engines. We have 6 months before we have to worry about money. Because if I spend nothing right now, 6 months left in the bank compared to our payments. So I have some time to get to the moon. Once I'm at the moon, you're going to be selling a colony, like, immediately. And that will buy you not only time, but then you don't have to transport people from Earth. So the trips that you're making is significantly less because I can hire people straight from the moon. We will get there. But see all these moon contracts? Normally what I would do is grab one of these immediately. Now, I'm not even close to wanting to go ahead and think about going over to the moon just yet because we're going to get some research done, watch the pretty stars, all this kind of stuff. But we'll get here. And I will show you how I go ahead and set myself up for success when you go to the moon. Because everything happens really quick whenever you're traveling like that. But not much to manage. Just got to keep an eye on our warnings and make sure all these people stay healthy and comfortable. Comfort levels are staying pretty low, even with our training. And this is why I always say, control your skill levels by unchecking the skills you don't want them to use. Or confining them to one single room that only has a single skill use, like the repair guy. Just warning us of a solar flare, ain't too worried about it. So we are at 7% on our nuclear energy. That's good. Now, the ship that we're going to build to go to the moon, this is going to have very, very little because we don't want to carry, 6 extra colonists just so we could do some more science. So it will just be a carrier ship as light as possible to get you from Earth to the moon, have enough resources to start a decent little colony over there, and then build when you're over there, essentially. The lighter the ship, the easier it is to transport. But we are going over there with probably close to 20 to 30 people, because we need to be able to put people on the moon and then also staff the orbital ship. Right now, we're just burning time, doing research. We can increase our research power, but I don't want to do too much right here. We went through about 35 million of our money already building this. We have 299 days of repairs. Unlimited oxygen because, we're using their generators, and then 24 days of rations. So we'll buy more rations soon. Essentially, while we are going for the recombination engines, you can use the nuclear engines to get over to the moon. It's not very efficient, and you're going to spend a lot of money on nuclear fuel. But if you go to the recombination engines immediately, you not only have the high-tech production that you need to build the resources for the recombination engines, but the trip to the moon is going to be like 3 days. Instead of, with the nuclear engines, it'll probably be somewhere in the double digits, if not a full month. So our first loan payment, and we spent 35 million. So like I said, we have another 6 months, and that's if we spend nothing. So we'll probably spend about another 30 mil. So we actually have about 5 months to go. Meteor showers in the solar system view. As long as that is white, I don't have to worry about damage. Just once again, don't watch. Now you can see here, the warning for the research popped up for just a second. But that means our guys, our scientists are getting trained up more. Which means as they train up, they require more research power, more comfort, more server power. Yep, there it goes again. I'm not too worried about that. That just means when there's all 6 people there, we have like, you know, oh, okay, that actually went down to 75%. So let's go in here. We also need to go ahead and upgrade our defenses. Bah, there's no good place to put it. No good place to put it. So we will do this. Take care of that. There we go. Okay. The other reason we were here. We need food. So let's buy that. And then we needed more research power. So if our deficit is 25%, 25% of 10 is 2.5. So we need 2.5 more power, I think is how the math works. But I don't like building like that. So there's 4. 2, 3, 4. Still good on power. Another 70 days of food. Research is falling behind a bit as far as the equipment and servers are concerned, but we're alright. I'm not worried about getting those, you know, 0.4, 0.3 points ahead. So what we're doing here with the research is I want to be able to make the nano composite materials. I want to be able to make the nano sensors. And I believe that's all you know. So the high temp structural materials and nano sensors. Those are the ones that you need. So this and these. And that's so you can make the recombination engines. And then you just buy your hydrogen in order to make the fuel. Once you're over on the moon, you can get hydrogen from burning water. And then, this is why I say jump straight to the recombination engines. Once you're over on the moon, you have a very sufficient source of fuel that you don't have to purchase anything for. Alright, so someone is uncomfortable. Our biologist. Not a problem. You have multiple choices. Still have 17 points inside our rec room. So I'm just going to go ahead and add this. And we're going to do 2 of them. Put us up 4 points. Now she's good. I'm going to check our toilets and the showers. Okay, so toilets could use another... Probably just put this in here and it's good. Yeah, thought so. Now, the way you do this is you need at least 1 locker per person. But you obviously can't put that many in this room, so let's see what 7 does. That puts us to 19 and we're okay. And that's how you deal with the comfort. You just, as they start getting uncomfortable, I've left myself room in the rooms that they are assigned to upgrade those rooms. And that's why you start low and you can slowly build as you need. You just need to watch your resources for the current repairs. Another solar flare, no problem. 62%. We're going to want to start adding some research equipment, but the only research equipment we have is for a science room. So I don't want to do that just yet. I want to wait until I can at least do the bio repo as well. So we'll keep going, keep researching on. And then, if you really are worried about time, stop researching these other 2. That'll increase the speed of these. You see now all those bio points are going straight to those 2. So it's like 0.4, 0.5, half a point per day to get towards the bio repo and the tissue engineering. And to kind of explain what I'm saying is your total research generation here. So I have half a point of biology per day. If I have 2 researches, so these are only getting 1/4 of a point per day. It splits your research generation in each field evenly across all the researches you are currently doing. But the nice thing is when you stop a research, you don't lose the research. So we just stopped those other 2 biologies so that we could finish the bio repo. Now I will go ahead and check all of these because what we are about to do is upgrade our research. I'm going to pause this. So 30 points is a lot of points for only 6 people. So I only need 1. And then for here, you want to try to match. So we need 5. No, 4. 4 will give us not equal. And if we do 5, that'll be 42 points. So I guess we could go with that. We'll do 5. And that puts all the acquired resources in my cart. I will buy. I start at Japan and just keep going downward until you've ordered everything. Now we can go out of here into our solar system, speed it up till we get all of our shuttles, and then pause. We're going to switch to the station. And we're going to upgrade our rooms. Alrighty. To upgrade our room, we're going to need to do some moving around. And now I'm going to hold... I think it's not control. Oh, I forgot. So in the new one, there we go. You're probably like, but that's a waste of resources. It's really not. You're better off just switching because you really don't need the inefficiency of the other equipment. 30 points means we can also get rid of this heater. Put it in here. Put this heater in here. And this one in there. Because that is also a heater for the room. So we did 5 of these. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Check our power levels. 747, 1398. I'd say we're good. But the over-preparer in me does this. Because the last thing I want is the absence of 2 inexpensive solar panels be the reason why this entire colony dies. So, just increase your solar panel generation to 2 times more than your consumption, and we are good again. Never stay in your solar system view with this. Come in here. Let's see what's overheated. So even this room being overheated can cause everybody in the colony to get sick with heat sickness or heat stroke, whatever it is. So go back into your station view. Let the time play so that that room can be cooled. And if you're really impatient like me, and we're still good. Now the temperature has gone down in the room. No more overheating. And we're just going to let that room go down a little bit more in temperature before we go back out to solar system. To really understand how the mechanics work, this is the best I can explain it. So, in the solar system view, which is out here, it works off of this raw data. So if a room is giving you a warning that it is overheated, then what that technically means in solar system view is that that entire colony is overheated. So everybody is prone to getting sick from heat. Okay. Now, if I go into station view, only the colonists in the specific room that is overheated can get sick. Because I'm actually down in the station, it renders the positioning of each colonist. Out in solar system view, it goes over an overall kind of calculation. So you could get away with some things in the station view that you cannot get away with in the solar system view, such as a specific room that is unoccupied being overheated or underheated. So, hopefully that kind of clarifies some things, helps you to avoid, any unnecessary, unforeseen problems you may come into. All right, it's down to 25 degrees, so we are good. I'm going to go out to solar system and crank up the time. So now we're getting much more research, even though our scientific equipment can't keep up because of that tiny little deficit. I'm not going to go in there and increase just because I don't want to spend the resources, I don't want to spend the money, and it's not exactly necessary. Where's our research power? 1 to 2 points right now is actually pretty good. That means you will finish these in 18 days if you're doing one at a time. But that means things like this, 6 days, or less. Maybe a little bit more since we're doing 2 at a time. But that's kind of how I run it through as far as, is this worth it or is this not worth it? And that was just our pop-up saying that we finished our 2 physics research. The nanotech clothing is really nice. Staff hygiene, radiation injury, and temperature resistance. That is really nice right now, so we're going to go for it. We don't need the aesthetics because I'm not too worried about increasing our storage capabilities at the moment. I'm not going to do metamaterials because, once again, not worried about the storage, and I don't need the 216 research power right now. We're going to go for the high temp. With these 2 researchers going as well, they'll finish, then this one, and then we'll put everything that we got in engineering into our recombination engines. For right now, we're going to spread everything that we can across the board pretty evenly. I'm going to keep going with the carbon and the nanotech for that. Now, it's right about here where we can think about doing a production room, but really what we need to do is prepare for the recombination engines. You don't necessarily have to do it right now because, like I said, we don't have the research done just yet. We still need to make the high temp structural materials, but we can get the nanosensors out of the way and maybe make some composite nanomaterials. So we're going to start and get some nanosensor research or production going. And what's going to happen is these guys will actually get transferred to go to the moon. The high-tech people. Because I know we're 10 out of 10 right now as far as our apartments and everything are concerned. So, we are actually going to go ahead and take into account our vacancies. We have 2 points here, which is good. That means we only need to add 2 bedrooms. So, I'll do that by grabbing a luxury spacious room, and because these are just temporary, I'm just going to put them here. Why are you just standing there, bro? What are you doing? Are you going to eat? Is that in your way? I don't know what homeboy's doing right there. So anyway, 1, Oh, I can't do that anymore. Alright, 2. And then here's how you get away with this. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That is 90 points. Split amongst 2 people, that's 45. You're getting 15 more points per person than you would if they were in an apartment room. So, bam. Alright. And then high tech. Where's our high tech? High tech, high tech. Here we go. Nanosensor production sucks because you have to do this. Okay. Now, let's see. How can we do this? Do it that way. And then I don't know why it's still allowing the railing, but there we go. And there we go. So, can't go out into the solar system view because of our 74%, so let's speed it up in order to get people moving. Or get the temperature drop in real quick. Go ahead and check our energy consumption once again. We're at 1015, but here's why I would say we don't need to go in and add any more solar panels. 1797 gives us 797 generation while in the night. We have 2 hours in the sun versus an hour in the night. So, we already do twice as much as we consume as far as we're generating twice as long as we are consuming without generation. So that means we actually get 1498. The other way you could do this without a really long, complicated explanation into like an algorithm in order to calculate this. If you hit your battery capacity every time before going to night, you're A-okay. And then also you can just wait to see if this gives you a red warning. But we're A-okay right now. So we're just going to leave that. I'm going to uncheck that. I don't like the rails. What room is at 180 degrees? Oh, it's not. Just kidding. Alright, because this is not going fast enough for me, I'm going to build another set of that, and then add and we're good. And that just dropped the temp. Speed it up. And let's go hire our 2 high-tech people. Wrong room. Stick with the same people that you've already been hiring. These 2 look good. And you really only need 1, honestly. He doesn't have high-tech. She doesn't have high-tech. I don't. Alright. Yep, we'll go with this. Now we shall assign staff. I only want them there and there, so we can finish those and then assign what's left. Now, we don't have enough resources to start doing nanosensors. So I also want to make sure that we don't consume... Yeah, see, you don't want to consume all of your... So we'll put a limit on nanos for carbon, and then we'll order more carbon. We are very low on oxygen. And then nanosensors also require electronics. What else did it require? Iron. Okay. Perfect. So, now let's go buy some resources. We need more oxygen. Where is it? We need more electronics. That's just for repairs. And then, of course, we need iron. Who's selling the iron here? Here we go. It's pretty cheap, but it's also expensive to ship it. And now we should start making nanosensors. And what we could do is limit ourselves to the 60 that it costs. Go into your warehouse parameters, go to your nanosensors, and I mean, you can even do 75, just to give it a little bit of a buffer. Probably run out of resources before that happens, but, you know, maybe not. Oh. Alright. So, yeah, we have filled up our storage capacity. So, let's do more storage space. Now, I know I'm covering that door, but this is another one of those station versus solar system views. If I hire somebody in the solar system view and allow them to go ahead and be assigned in the solar system view, excuse me, I don't have to worry about the doors and the pathing. Again, raw data, not exactly what's happening down in the colony. Let's check our research. Now, I did notice something. You do actually need... Where is it? Carbon electronics. So that is another research that we'll have to do before we get over there. And that's because of the recombination engines. You can short that by just doing the nuclear. But, again, it's a 3-day versus 30-day. Now, the other thing you can look out for... Obviously, we don't have 5,800. I mean, 2,300 nanosensors for 7 million. I don't know if that's technically worth it. We just spent like 12 million buying, I think, what is enough to get the 75. Who knows? Maybe it's actually a little bit more than that. because we seem to have actually quite a lot of nanosensors. So maybe that is worth it, but we're not going to be able to make 22 or even 2,000 to cover that. So if that was a lower number, maybe this contract. But these are kind of what I'm looking at. 100 million, 23 colonists. Your helium-3, while that is really nice, 20 million, it's going to take you a lot to get to helium, 1500 helium-3, and then you have to cart it back because we're on master difficulty. So again, we are looking at spaceport contracts because we are going to be preparing soon to go over there. Now, that's composite nanomaterials. Darn. That would have been worth it. Alright, no contracts. Still just playing the waiting game for our research to be done. And to speed it up, we don't need either of these right now, so I'll stop that. I'm going to keep those going, and nothing over here is really detrimental if we don't have it to go to the moon. So I'll leave the biology, put the engineering straight on to the carbon macrostructures, or sorry, the high-temp structural materials. And that puts all 1.5, 1.6 research points towards here. So not necessarily 18, but probably somewhere around like 10 to 20 days we'll have that. Alrighty, research, let's go. Let's go. We got our 75 nanosensors. Very, 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 very nice. Now we can start work on composite nanos to make the high temp structural materials. That's not the right room. Where is the room? Where is it? Biotech. There you are. Alright, can't fit it in there. We're gonna have to add a little bit more. Go to our high tech. Whoops, what did I just... Okay, we're good. And there we go. And we're keeping these low. The reason for that is we do not want to have a giant stockpile that, you know, costs us to store more than we need. Now here's where we need the regolith, and now I'm going to show you how expensive it is. It's ridiculous. It's dirt. It's dirt. 10 million. Because of the shipping cost. And that's for 1,000, which will make 960. A little less, actually. So, maybe not so much. Right now. Can we make the highest temperature? Is that magnet material? Oh no. That's just the extra, the higher tier production of those. So. Let's see something real quick. Sell to the Earth. Yeah, see, it's not really worth it in my opinion. 80,000. And I mean, even if we were to let these go crazy, maybe get 4 million, 7 million. Where is it? Hold on. 6,000 nanosensors. 20 million. You're probably getting maybe 18 if you sell 6,000. 18 million for 6,000. So you might be able to make money off of that, but I don't think you're going to make enough in order to really skirt the time, and it's not worth the resources that you're spending. So we're again waiting for our research. It's a big waiting game in the beginning. You just got to be patient. Let the time run. Earth orbital. And like I said, just be patient. Let your time run. Don't worry about that scientific deficit. You got 1 to 2 points per day in each of your fields, so you're good. We're good on research. We just gotta let it wait, and we got time. Got plenty of time. 3 more months before we have to worry about, okay, do we buy another, or do we get another research or do we get another loan? Or, you know, we got time before we need to decide what we need to do. What we may end up doing, actually, is increasing the amount of scientists we have on this orbital. But that'll be after we head to the moon, because we need the spacious living quarters that we have occupied at the moment to do that. So we'll wait. Research is moving along quite nicely. And what is it saying? We're lacking of materials. Regolith. Soil. Be alright. Almost done with those high temp structural materials. So what we're gonna do here is give our engineering a little bit of a boost. Put 1 extra right there, and we can hire an engineer. Workaholic, and he's got good engineering skills. She has good engineering skills. Come on, staff. Let go. Make sure they're signed, and we're good. plenty of comfort. Now that should give us a little bit of a good boost to... Who's not comfortable anymore? Oh, you... Okay. 16 points. So I'm going to start dumping some soft cabinets. 1, 2, 3, 4. Back out so we can see the difference. That gives us 3 points. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's another 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's another 3. And he's got a 6-point buffer there. So we're good. Okay. I'm just going to finish those just because we've got the extra buffer of engineering once they get a little bit more, you know, skilled up. And the reason why we're not go ahead and building our other ship right away is because it's just going to cost us the resources to keep it maintained. Not only that, but the money to pay the crew. So the longer we can wait to build it, the more we will save in the long run on our trip to the moon. So, like I said, your first... Until you get to the moon, it's really a big hurry up and wait game. You know, you're waiting on research. You could hightail it to the moon if you wanted to with the nuclear engines. I don't recommend it. I really don't. Because you will see when we get to the moon and we have the recombination engines, the fact that we're playing on Master means that we don't have shuttles that can cart stuff from Earth to the moon efficiently, or I should say cheap. So we have to send our orbiter ship with the resources back and forth. So we're investing in our travel time by doing the recombination engines first. Because like I said, that's going to be a very easily sustainable fuel system with just hydrogen. Once we get over to the moon, we melt down the ice for water, and then water gets us the hydrogen that we need to make our fuel. While we're over there, we can make high-tech resources to sell. You can also go heavily into what did we say we needed? We needed the carbon electronics. Sorry, to finish what I was saying, you could go straight into where is it? You could go straight into the helium-3 mining and make money that way. But again, you have to cart those resources back, so keep that in mind. Your best bet when you go over there is going to be coming with a ship full of the 20-something people it'll take in order to build this spaceport over there. You know, I would accept something like this, 20 colonists, and then we'd go over there with, 25. Bang out a colony real quick, get a quick 100 million, build our own little colony. But we will get there. Very, very soon. Almost done with the nuclear, about halfway. Our research power is starting to get a little low, so I think what we're going to do here now is double up our research power. One, that'll put us up to 60. We're already at 42, so that's 50.4. 58.8. So 3 more of these. And 1 of those. Okay. Speed up time just to get those shuttles here a little quicker. We're gonna have to build a little bit of extra space. What's the temp outside? We have 18 hours left. I'm just gonna do it. What I was calculating there was, you have the temperature outside, and when you're building new rooms, it adds that temperature to the room. So I just added, 6 more blocks. There's our temperature. Was increased. So that's what you have to worry about when you're building onto another room, is what's the temperature outside, just so you can keep control of your temperature in the room. Now we gotta wait for that temperature to balance out before we go back out into our solar system view. But what we just did here, I think we're A-okay on our batteries and power. What we just did here was increase the amount of research points that we can gain total in one day. That will really help us go ahead and narrow down this gap of 972 points for recombination engines. Which is crazy! Oh, while we're in the research tree, let me go ahead and show you. This is what the research endgame mod that I created adds. Conquer the Cosmos research. 7 different researches. The first one requires photonic engines and cryogenics. Same thing as it requires basically for interstellar travel. I know artificial gravity is also a requirement, but if you look at this little tree, you actually have to research artificial gravity in order to get photonic engines. So that little requirement is redundant with this requirement. But anyway, we did it like this. So you don't have to research the interstellar travel, because I know personally, if I'm not doing the Solargene mission game, I don't research this because I don't want to trigger that whole ending scenario. So research these and then you can move into those. But you got learning rate, astro mining speed, thrust to weight ratio of shuttles, loading, unloading speeds, more mining, more thrust, more loading. Just some stuff to extend the lifetime of your scientific colonists. That mod with the school mod, you can kind of at least keep some of your scientists after you've completed your research table. Once you've completed all of this, it's like, why do I even need scientists anymore? I end up getting rid of them. At least with the school, you could keep some behind in order to do at least teaching for new colonists. Really only need this to drop just a couple more points and we can go back out to our solar system view. Speed up the time. Come on, come on, come on. Yay, no more warning. Alright, we'll go back out here, speed it up. That's very nice. So 3 points per day means we will finish our recombination engines in 320 something days. Obviously that's still quite of a lot. That's like a whole year, and we only have 97 million. So we'll have to do maybe some more increasing of our science people. Which what we may end up doing is just adding more engineering tables and taking some physicists and biologists away to add to the engineering growth. But we can change that up, later on. We're definitely getting into the realm of, okay, we're going to have to get another, loan. But I'm not going to do the loan yet because then I add that monthly payment. We still have money. We still have time. Let's let our research kind of go. I don't want to change over anybody yet. Actually, we could change over the biologists, but the physicists, remember, we still need these carbon electronics, so we need to keep our physicists. So I'm just going to take one of our biologists away, change them over to a engineer. And there we go. We now have a fourth engineer. The other thing we got to remember, when we go to take another loan, it's going to double how much we're spending if we take the same amount. Per month, that loan payment is going to be, if we take another 250, it'll be 62,000 or 62 million every single time, every month. So you got to remember those loan payments actually do take a big chunk. And if you don't have a steady stream of income, that can be hard to manage. I'm going to go ahead and set our nanosensors loose to make 1100. I want to see how much 1,000 will sell for. If we can even make 1,000 on, the amount of resources that we bought for it. Because maybe we could sell those for a little bit of money. Okay, here's our nuclear engines. So, I'll actually, we'll go ahead and show it. So, we'll save point. And then just to go back to, okay. So, let me show you those nuclear engines and what they will cost to get us to. Alright. Place it down and go back out. Now, again, this is bare bones. 18 days. Almost a full month. Wow, that's, okay, decent. Remember, there's nothing on here. Once we stock it up with 30 people, build enough of an infrastructure for 30 people, and then send it, you're probably looking at a full 30 days of travel time. And then this, which is your fuel required, is probably going to be somewhere between 10 Delta V. Now, 54 nuclear jet fuel may not seem like a lot, but again, not a lot, but I also need to carry it back because we don't have the recombination engines yet, and I can't make nuclear fuel like that. Even with the resources on the moon, your transuranic elements are not enough income to sustain nuclear jet fuel. So you need the recombination engines. While that can get us over there, what happens if something goes wrong? Can't get back. Can't send anybody over there. So, on a master playthrough, definitely not even going to risk it. So, and then again, it's only 54 right now because, we got nothing on here. Add 30 people. Add the infrastructure for 30 people. Add the food for 30 people. It's just not gonna be worth it in the long run. Oh, we're just gonna go to our save, because I only did that just to show y'all the downside to using nuclear fuel and the reason why we're gonna hold out for those recombination engines. Five points per day is really good. That gets us this in less than 200 days. But I'm thinking about even pushing that further with our other biologist. So, our double-skilled researcher needs more comfort. So we could do this. And everybody's happy. And now he has 102 out of 87. Little things like that can help you control comfort without even needing to upgrade or add anything. Just going in to buy some more steel because we're getting low for our repairs. And then I noticed our carbon stockpile is also out. And we need those for the nano sensors. Now, let's see. How much would 100 get us? Not a lot. So I don't see us being able to sell the nano sensors for a profit. So, since we can't make a profit off the nano sensors, I just lowered their threshold for production in the warehouse. So that we only make 200 and then we'll stop. And it's just a really big waiting game right here. But we're approaching the 2-hour mark, so I was kind of hoping in one video that we'd get all the way to the moon. In 2 hours you could do it if you're not on the master difficulty, just because those shuttles really do make it a lot easier to sustain something on the moon, because your only lifeline until you really populate the moon with your own base of operations, your only lifeline is the Earth. And carting resources back there manually, it's just not feasible until you get, to the recombination engines. So we're actually going to call it for this episode. I think we did a decent amount. Hopefully this gives you, some help in your opening gambit. If you're feeling confident, go ahead and try a master gameplay and see if you can get to the moon, before the next episode. But on the next episode, we will definitely be heading straight to the moon. We will be putting down our base of operations, expanding our control, and all of that. So before we leave, I'll go ahead and run through this since our loan payment just popped up. We have a bank balance of 30 million, but our loan payment is 32. So that means we have less than 30 days before we go into the red. So unfortunately, what that means is we're going to have to grab another contract. We also have somebody who is uncomfortable. Oh, that's because you're not supposed to be doing all of that. That's what happens, people, when you don't control their comfort by leaving their skills unchecked. Really gotta do maybe some maneuvering. Nope, that is Matilda. She's already in there. So we actually just need to upgrade the comfort supplied. And that should definitely do it. Yeah, there we go. I believe this now means we only have one physicist. 1, 2, 1. No, we still have 2 physicists. Okay. They'll be fine. Yeah, just like that, morale's going back up. Research for the engineers are going a lot faster. 9 points is amazing. So I'd say even you don't even need to upgrade past this amount of scientists. We could get rid of him, our high-tech guy, because we're not making any more high-tech, but we will need that later when we finish further researches. So I'm going to go ahead and take another loan. We have 7 months left on this from America. Go to the European Union, and we will once again 250,000, 12 months, 32. Take it. Now again, that puts our payment up to about 65 million, so keep that in mind. But this money right here will take us to the moon, and then we will be able to repay our loans before the time runs out and before we go negative, because once we get to the moon, that's where you're going to start making your money. But like I said, we will call it for this one. Happy colonizing, everybody. I hope this helped you with your opening gambit, and if not, hopefully the next episode when we make it to the moon, hopefully that'll help you. Hope you enjoyed the video. I will see you in the next one.